Hi, it's Ms. Kurganin, and I'm sorry if you are watching the dorky video that I'm making on how to write. So why we are learning how to write and set up these papers is because when you go to higher institutions, college, trade school, you're going to get a professor that gives you a topic and sends you off to go write that paper. But I want to streamline the process. I want to get you to where you're really comfortable how to set it up. In college, I went to CU Boulder, go Buffs. I know that they're the worst in the nation, but go Buffs. I got so good at writing these papers that I could get the prompt from the professor, get home, power that paper out in about 2.5 hours and still be able to make it out to the bands in the evening. That's what I want. I don't want these papers to drag you down for the entire weekend. So there's a format that we are going to learn how to do today. You're going to kind of look at how to set it all up. And then rather than write the paper, you're going to make a poster project. For this DBQ, it's just going to be a poster. Now, what have we done so far? We learned things. If you look at the board, here's some stuff that we did. We did a map project with partners and looked at, in the imperialism age, where were we taking things over? We did a bunch of lectures, 7 lectures, where we learned about getting involved in Cuba, getting involved in Hawaii, getting involved in the Philippines, getting involved in World War I. Woo! And then we talked about, in our table groups, good things about imperialism and bad things about imperialism. You're going to get this T-chart back, especially if some of you haven't been here, just to see the flow of arguments, good or bad. For instance, good things that we did in this 1900s. We got the Panama Canal. We liberated Cuba. We brought Christianity and democracy to other countries. We liberated and saved people, which is amazing. We made allies. We won World War I. Wow, that's amazing. But there's also, hello, good morning. There's also some not so good that we did. Like, we brought our racism with us, that's social Darwinism, and we forced our Christianity on people. We stripped away their culture. We helped ourselves to their resources, and we had a lot of people die in World War I, which maybe we should have stayed neutral. So there's also some negative to the imperialism age. So after you have all this learning in your head, then the professor in your trade school or in your college is going to assign you a paper topic. And so you are going to have to make an argument and use the gritty historical details to back up your argument. Now, when you are in college or when you're in trade school, and some of you are not looking at me, so you need to swivel your head for a sec so I can show you. Swivel heads. Look at me over here. That's right, even you. I know you haven't seen these in a while, but these are called books. And you're going to have to buy them in college or trade school, and you're going to have to read them, or at least pretend to read them with some cliff notes. And as you are going through them, you are probably going to mark with Post-it notes or actually write in the book the things that are important to remember so that you can use them in your papers. And when you're in a history class or social studies class, they'll probably have you buy 3 or 4 books. Do you read them all? I don't know. You read enough to write these papers, okay? Now, I'm not going to have you buy or read books. Instead, we, in your junior year, try and make it easy for you by just giving you a little snippet of the book. We're going to pretend as if you already read the book, and we have saved little snippets of love, and that's what this packet is. These are old-timey documents, old-timey pictures, old-timey speeches from old-time history books that you're going to try and shove into your paper. But you shove it into your paper as emphasis to all the good stuff that you already know. If you just write a paper about the old-timey documents, that won't be a very solid grade, because I want you to take all of the awesomeness that you've learned in this unit and get that in your paper. That's why we do notes. We take notes so that now you can take all of those old-timey details and put it in your paper. So here is how we're going to set up our paper. I need you to get a pen or pencil. Get ready to write. Hello there. Nice to have you here. And you came just in the nick of time. At the very top, could you write the word prompt? Prompt at the very top of your paper. So on the, it should be, no, there should be here. We're writing on this. We're writing on the white part because we are going to write all of this board on the white part. Good. Now that you're clued in. At the top, I want you to write the word prompt. Prompt. The prompt is like the topic, what the professor is going to ask you to talk about in your paper. So this prompt, when you read it, it's pretty hefty, but I'm going to pick it apart. It says, to what extent and in what specific ways did America defend or deny the principles of liberty and equality through its expansionist policies? Oh my God, that is a lot of words. But what does that really mean? It means, did we give liberty and equality? Did we do awesome things in the imperialism age? Or did we not do awesome things in the imperialism age? That's going to be your paper. That's going to be your poster. Now, time out for a second. Because when you write these papers for me, I truly don't care what you really think. I mean, I do care what you think, but if you want to write a paper that America is awesome and everything we do, woo, go America, awesome. Or if you want to write a paper that America sucks, either way, I'm not going to judge you. In fact, I won't even think that that's what you think. You being able to argue a side is the skill. At the end of this semester, you get into two teams and you have to argue whether or not we should have dropped the atom bomb on Japan. Now, you might get on the side that's like, yeah, nuke them. And really, truly inside, that's not what you think. I don't care. Your ability to argue is the skill. So you might look at this paper and just write the one that's easier. Is it easier to write that America was pretty bossy and pretty greedy and pretty racist in the imperialism age? Or is it going to be an easier paper to talk about how we liberated countries, that we gained power in the world, and we helped win World War I? Whatever is the easier paper, you choose. But whatever side you choose, go US or boo US, you need a concession. Who in here remembers what a concession is? Concession. We did it when we did a mapping thesis. Kai, help me out.
It's like the other side.
It is the other side. Holland, slap your face if you need to. Get your pencil ready to go. And here we're going to write out a mapping thesis. Next word. So far you had prompt. Now do mapping thesis. Write down mapping thesis up near the top. Mapping thesis. Now, if you were not here, we are actually going to have a mapping thesis in this exact order. And so it starts out with a word like although or even though. So copy that down. Although or even though. And then here comes the opposite side. The opposite side is called the concession. So I want you to write down the word concession. Now, why would you have the opposite side in your paper? It's to win the argument. Yesterday, at the end of sixth period was trying to convince me to let them go 3 minutes early. And I said, well, you've got to give it to me in a mapping thesis. And so Ahmed DeCesar said, although you could get in trouble by administration for letting students out before the bell, letting us get to our cars early, letting us get to our jobs, and beating all of the rest of J-lot traffic would be really helpful for us as a class because we've worked really hard. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty good argument. Off you go. So when you give the concession, it's acknowledging the other side, but your argument's going to be stronger. So you are going to have reasons why the U.S. either upheld or didn't uphold liberty and equality in the imperialism age. And you're going to acknowledge the other side. So although the United States tended to take these countries in pretty aggressive and racist ways, We did more to uphold liberty and equality because we secured the Panama Canal for commerce. We liberated countries from Spain's evil control, and we helped America provide safety in World War I. Ooh, that'd be a good paper. But here, let me model one that's negative. Although the United States gained lots of world power in the 1900s, they did more to not uphold liberty and equality because they used social Darwinism to control other countries unfairly. Number two, they shoved their Christianity and erased cultures in places like Hawaii. And number three, they risked the lives of thousands of men and abandoned our policy of neutrality in World War I. Ooh, that would be another really good paper. So in your mapping thesis, you have written down concession. Then you're going to write this out. The U.S. upheld, or you could have in here, parentheses, didn't uphold, the principles of liberty and equality in the imperialism age by, and then this is where it comes, bam, 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 the main points of your paper. What are the three main reasons that you are going to make in your paper? You got the other side out of the way because now you've got three good reasons why you should win. And so I think 3 is good. For high school, 3 is good. Even for freshman college, 3 is good. By the time you're going for PhD, you're probably going to have more than 3 reasons. But I think for me, what would be an A is you make 3 good arguments. For freshman and even maybe sophomore year of college, 3 is good, as long as you throw your concession in there. Don't make it harder for yourself, okay? Then, all of that was the intro. So off to the side here, can you label, that is the intro of your paper. Your paper has 3 parts, an introduction, the body, and lastly, the conclusion, where you just kind of tap on at the end, because if I'm the reader, I want to know that you're done. Do you still have knowledge that you're sharing? Oh, you're done? Okay. I get the feeling that you're done in the conclusion. So your conclusion should never have any new information. Your conclusion should just give me the sense that we're done. If you're shoving in facts at the last second or talking about old-timey documents at the last second, I think you're still going. So I want to get a sense that we are done. We're done with your paper. So in the body of your paper, this is the meat. This is the really important nitty-gritty stuff. This is all like where you've gotten the details from your notes in the body. I want you to write down, it goes concession paragraph, then it goes reason 1, then it goes reason 2, then it goes reason 3. I'm going to shut my door a little bit. Sorry, camera people. I showed you when we did our mapping thesis activity the other day that you could shove the concession down here at the bottom right before your conclusion. But I think stylistically, it goes better at the top because you hear the other side and then you hear you, and then you win. If you go you, oh, but then here's the other side, then almost like in a court of law, it's the last thing you are reading, and so your argument is less strong. I think it's better to get the other side out of the way and then make your case. So there would be a paragraph for reason 1, a paragraph for reason 2, a paragraph for reason 3. So if my concession was that we use social Darwinism and we were pretty crappy to other countries, sorry, I had a bad word on the camera, then the 3 good things that we did, Panama Canal, we helped liberate Cuba, and World War I. Woo! So that would be my flow. Now, next. If you write, and we're going baby steps through a DBQ because if I just had you write this paper right now, I think most of you would get a D. Sorry, but it's a hard skill. And what you would end up doing is probably just write about the old-timey documents, and you would have a hard time getting all of your gritty details from your notes in your paper. So in the body of your paper, could you write a note to self that this is where the details from your notes need to be? To get an A on these papers, you need to really show me what you've learned. And that's why you took your notes. That's why I make your papers open note. So you can go back and you can get, when was the Foraker Amendment? What even was the Foraker Amendment? Oh, that was about Puerto Rico and how we're going to control Puerto Rico. And when did it happen? Well, in your notes, because you were taking really good notes, you were like, oh, that happened in 1900, the Foraker Amendment. So the details from the notes are where you put the boring stuff. And that adds evidence for your arguments. All right, your voice is getting recorded. Shush it. So then, lastly, come the documents. And again, if you came in late, the reason that you have documents, it's really taking place of boring books. You've been reading boring history books for your college class, and you've got all these little snippets of information, and now you're going to put that old-time stuff in your paper because it enhances and proves your paper. You're using evidence to prove. So the historical evidence, the docs, have been shortened and made available to you in a packet. That's how we run it in high school. We're just going to pretend that we're giving you 7 different books and that these were the little nuggets of gold that you were going to use in your paragraphs to highlight your thinking. Questions on this process so far? Yes?
What's the concession paragraph?
So the concession paragraph is the opposite side. When you are plotting out your paper, you want to have a paragraph about the other side because your side then is stronger. So I was giving kids in this lesson an example about trying to make a case to your parents to stay out later and extend your curfew. If your parents wanted you in by midnight, if you just say, hey, Mom and Dad, can I please stay out till 1? And then they're like, no. But your argument's stronger if you acknowledge the other side. Off your phone, Tom. Put your phone away. So, Mom and Dad, I understand that you're really worried about my safety and that, nothing really legal or safe seems to happen after midnight. But I really feel strongly that I should stay out till 1 o'clock because although, and this is your concession, although you're really worried about my safety, my friends really rely on me to be the sober driver. And if you allow me to stay out later, then I can get my friends home safely because I care about them as much as you care about me. And I can still come home at a reasonable hour to prove to you how responsible I am. Okay? So it's a more persuasive argument when you acknowledge the other side. You good on that? Other questions? Okay, now, open up the packet, because now we're going to go to the documents. And you guys, I'm going to pause the camera for a second so that I can switch screens, because then we're going to go through the flow, and I'm going to show you what are some really good pieces in your docs to use on your poster project. Okay, so pause.